Welcome to Paul Burchak Art Studio Adventures. Thank you for joining me, and we're going to go where creativity rules the universe. In this demonstration, it was another pastel demonstration I did live on my Patreon, and you can join those classes every Saturday. They're live classes, pastel and drawing. This was from a self-portrait that Vincent van Gogh did. And so that was our reference, and I think it's great to try to copy masters because they're like teaching you as you go along. So enjoy and give me some feedback if you like this. So as I begin a study like this, as you can see, I have it printed to the left, and I also have it on my little Samsung viewer. And I use that little viewer so I can kind of zoom in and take a really good close look at like eyes and stuff like that. So the whole process is one where in the beginning I measure quite a bit, making comparisons, let's say between the size of the actual face, navigating where the brows are and the length of the nose, the mouth, and just overall width and height. And often I'll use that initial first group of measurements to sort of be my ruler as I move into my picture. It's going to help me build the hat, the clothes, all those elements, simply by taking, let's say, one measurement, which might be the width of the face, and coming back to that same measurement over and over again to make comparisons, to find out where other parts of the face are, their relationship to the coat, to the hat, all the elements that you see in the picture. So that's my first beginning thought on a pastel as I go into it here in a live demonstration. And I think it's a really good way to approach just about everything. If you're using have a setup with a still life, you're measuring. If you're figure drawing in an open drawing session in your community at a college or a university, you're using that same formula. You're measuring and really taking a good look at the placement of where you have your features. So this is a process that's used, for hundreds of years, literally, by artists all throughout time. So it's not something new. One of the other things I like to use is a mirror, and I've mentioned that before in my videos. I'll compare. I have a mirror behind me, and occasionally I turn around and I look at it in the mirror and make my comparisons, seeing how it visually looks at a distance, but also how it compares to the pictures. And here's a hand mirror, and then also I have a large hand mirror right behind me. So in this first initial layout, you can see that I'm keeping it to grays and white, and then the initial warm color, which is going to be prominent throughout the picture. So I tossed in that warm color of the mustache, a little bit of the cheek, but mostly a lot of it's built on black and white at first, so that I can find where things go, and also values to see how strong the light value is in comparison to other locations on the picture. So one of the old sayings about going into your artwork is to find your lightest light and darkest dark, and that works. That is actually a really good idea. Try to first find what will actually be your darkest dark and lightest light. And then everything else that's in between is a group of values and forms that you're going to use to develop your picture. So that is initially the first approach you want to make with most of your artwork. Now here, I'm also trying to capture the personality as I go into this. I must keep that in mind as how did it first impress me? Because a lot about your own artwork, whether you're copying a master or not, a portion of you is going to be beneath the surface of everything you make. And I think that that goes with just about everything that you'll ever create, even if it's photo real. As an artist, there are elements that simply are there that are initially part of your own spirit, your own nature, your own vision or view of your world and art. So I keep that in mind as well. What is this balance that's taking place on my first impression, and why I wanted to do this study, and also perhaps trying to put myself in that place of Vincent van Gogh and his approach. And by doing a copy of his picture, you also have this opportunity to see how he used his paintbrush or line or just paintbrush strokes. In here, what I'm doing is using pastel, which is a drawing material, but I'm trying to treat it as painterly as possible. Painting and drawing are similar, but the two mediums have very distinct, different natures. So in this picture, I am going to try to capture my first initial feeling, all the elements as it grows. I don't know how I want it to appear to a viewer, and also take in a good study. Just really try to learn something from what Vincent van Gogh did in his creation. And that in turn gets into your mind, it gets into my mind, and even though it's perhaps just in your subconscious, you're going to find that every time you copy a master's work, you're going to be having that information sort of embedded in your subconscious. And every little element that you learn or have issues with, let's say complications, are all just part of that nice path that you take as an artist to learn and get better. It doesn't end, and you just learn more and adapt and create the best pictures you can. So I'm going to be bringing this up to a conclusion in the video, and then I'm going to post a picture here where you can see the final results when I pushed it a little farther after the class demonstration so that everybody could see a final product. Hope you enjoyed this, and be sure and check out my Patreon if you want to learn more about drawing and painting. I teach a lot of drawing, and I do teach painting privately because it's a little more involved, I think. But I think the initial groundwork for all painting is actually in the drawing stage, and I'm amazed at how much I draw when I'm actually painting. So learning to draw very well is a really fantastic accomplishment in life. And if I can help you with that, check out my Patreon and come to our classes on Saturdays. I'm Paul Burchak, and that's paulburchak.com. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay safe, be healthy, and creative. And have a fun day.